The stars were quiet. No sound, no light, only endless black space. In the middle of that darkness, a small alien ship floated slowly. The ship was old, damaged, and shaking. Inside it, fear lived. Captain Ralvik, a tall Drelvan with blue skin and silver eyes, stood in front of the control screen. His crew looked tired, scared, and hungry. They had been running for weeks. Their enemy, the Zarnak Empire, was close behind. Everyone knew, if they were caught, they would be killed. "We have lost engine power," said First Officer Lenra. "Shields are at 2%. One more hit and we're finished." Captain Ralvik stayed calm, but inside, he was breaking. 27 refugees were on board, men, women, and children. They had escaped their planet just hours before it was destroyed. And now, they were alone in deep space, hiding inside an asteroid field. The ship's lights flickered. One of the children began to cry. A soft, hopeless sound filled the room. "We need help," whispered Lenra. Ralvik looked out the window. Stars looked peaceful, but death was hiding in that peace. The Zarnak were hunters. Cold, cruel, and smart. They did not forgive, and they never missed their prey. Then, suddenly, something happened. "Sir," shouted the young communication officer, Dren. "I'm getting a signal." Ralvik turned fast. "From where?" "I don't know. It's strong, but strange. I've never seen this code before. It's old, very old." Ralvik moved closer. The signal was not coming from any known race. It was sharp, repeating every 10 seconds. The sound was almost like a heartbeat. Dren's hands flew over the screen. "Wait, I think this is human code." Everyone froze. Humans, a name from history books, a race that once ruled parts of the galaxy, a race that fought against the Zarnak long ago. Some said they were monsters, some said they were saviors, but one thing was sure: humans were gone. "They were extinct, right?" asked Lenra. "A myth. Ghosts." Ralvik's voice was low. "My grandfather used to tell me stories about human warships, machines with minds, weapons that could burn planets. But it was just legend." The signal kept coming. Strong, loud, alive. Dren looked up, his voice shaking. "Sir, the message says one word." "What is it?" "Stand by." Silence filled the ship. "Stand by," Ralvik repeated. "Stand by for what?" Suddenly, a loud alarm rang through the ship. "Zarnak ships incoming," shouted Lenra. "2 destroyers. They found us." Panic spread fast. Everyone ran to battle stations. Children were rushed into the lower cabins. Weapons were armed, but they were too weak to fight. "They'll be here in 3 minutes," Lenra said. Ralvik knew this was the end. They had no speed, no weapons, and no chance. He closed his eyes and whispered a prayer to the stars. But then, the signal changed. The ship's screen flickered. The same signal now came with a new pattern. Longer, deeper. Something else was being sent. Dren gasped. "It's a location. Coordinates." "From where?" Ralvik asked. Dren's fingers shook. "1 light minute away. Very close. But there's nothing there. Just empty space." Ralvik made a choice. "Send our last energy pulse to that location. Let's show them where we are." "But sir, if it's a trap." "If it's not," Ralvik said, "it's our only hope." The pulse was sent. Seconds passed. The Zarnak ships came into view. Sharp, black, and full of death. "They're charging weapons," Lenra said. "We're going to die." Then, space changed. A deep hum filled the area. Lights flickered across the stars. And then, like a ghost from the dark, something arrived. A ship. Huge. Silent. Black like night, but glowing from inside. Its surface was not metal, but something else. Something alive. It stood between the Drelvans And the Zarnak ships. Is that human? Someone whispered. No one knew. The Zarnak destroyers paused. They scanned the new ship. They tried to send messages. No reply. Then, in just 1 second, the first Zarnak ship exploded. No sound. No warning. Just fire and dust. The second ship tried to run. It didn't get far. A beam of blue light sliced through it like paper. Silence again. The strange black ship floated forward. Its weapons stopped. Its lights calmed. And then it spoke. A voice echoed in every system. You are safe. Stand by for extraction. Ralvik fell to his knees. The legends were true. Humans had returned. The Drelvan ship floated in silence. Smoke still hung in space where the Zarnak ships had been destroyed just moments ago. Nothing was left. No pieces, no escape pods, only ashes glowing under the stars. Captain Ralvik stood frozen. He had seen battles before. He had seen death. But he had never seen anything like this. 2 of the strongest warships of the Zarnak Empire, gone in seconds. The mysterious black ship was still there, silent, watching. Is it really human? Lenra whispered beside him. I don't know, Ralvik said, but it saved us. A deep voice echoed again through their ship's systems. Remain where you are. You are under protection. Dren looked up from his console. Same voice as before. No new signals yet. But the ship, it's scanning us. Let it scan, Ralvik said. If it wanted to kill us, we'd be dead already. The Drelvan crew waited. Children were quiet. No one moved. Even the air inside felt heavy, like something ancient had awakened. Suddenly, a soft ping echoed across the control room. Sir, Dren said, his face pale. There's movement. A small probe is coming from the human ship. It's heading toward us. Let it dock, Ralvik ordered. The probe was small and black, just like the warship. It attached itself gently to the side of their ship. A thin cable extended, linking both ships together. The lights in the control room dimmed. Then a new message appeared on the screen. Prepare for boarding. Evaluation process will begin. Remain calm. Evaluation. Lenra asked. What does that mean? Ralvik didn't answer. He was thinking about something else. Long ago, in the old stories, humans were not just warriors. They were judges. When they came across a new species, they didn't always help. They first watched, studied, tested, and if they didn't like what they saw, they erased. We need to be careful, Ralvik said softly. This ship is not just a machine. It's a mind, maybe a living one. But why now? Lenra asked. Why did they come now? I don't know, he said. But I think they never really left. Suddenly, red lights flashed. Dren shouted, another Zarnak signal. Far away, but it's getting closer. Maybe reinforcements. Ralvik looked at the black ship. It hadn't moved. Do you think it will fight again? Lenra asked. Ralvik looked at the silent giant in front of them. It destroyed 2 ships without warning. It doesn't bluff. Inside the black ship, the probe had already started its work. It sent back scans, images, data, all about the Drelvans, their health, their weapons, their emotions. Everything was recorded. Then something strange happened. The Zarnak Empire also received the signal. Inside a Zarnak command cruiser, far away, Commander Thoz stared at the screen in disbelief. His officers stood frozen. That signal, one of them said, is human. Thoz growled. Impossible. Humans are gone. Their empire fell 600 years ago. We destroyed their colonies. But sir, look at this. The energy pattern. It matches old Earth war tech. Thoz leaned closer. What ship is this? His screen showed a blurred image, a black shape. Massive. Silent. His heart skipped a beat. No, it can't be, he whispered. Not Titanus. Back on the Drelvan ship, panic returned. "The children are scared," said Lenra. "The probe's light is everywhere. It's scanning even the food storage." "Let it finish," Ralvik said. "We have no power to fight it. But maybe we can talk to it." He stepped toward the main console. "This is Captain Ralvik of the Drelvan vessel Hope Seeker. We are peaceful. We are refugees. Thank you for saving us." The system was quiet. Then the human ship replied. Speech detected. Verified emotional tone. Honesty. No weapons threat found. Mission continues. The probe disconnected. The black ship slowly moved forward. "Where is it going?" Dren asked. "Maybe it's leaving," Lenra said. But it didn't leave. Instead, it positioned itself directly between the Drelvan ship and the new incoming Zarnak signal. It was standing guard. Ralvik stared. "They're protecting us," he said. "They're watching, like guardians in the dark." The crew felt a mix of fear and hope. The stories were real. Humans had not died. They had become shadows, waiting, watching, and now they were back. The stars seemed to freeze in time. The black warship stood still in space, like a silent mountain. Its surface didn't shine like metal. Instead, it absorbed light. It looked more like a shadow than a ship. On the Drelvan vessel Hope Seeker, everyone stared at the giant. It didn't move, but it was clear. The ship was alive, watching, thinking. Captain Ralvik felt sweat on his forehead. "Is it waiting for something?" he asked. "I don't know," Dren replied. "But the Zarnak reinforcements, they'll be here in 2 minutes." Lenra stepped forward. "We can't escape. What do we do?" Ralvik looked at the black warship. "We trust it. We have no other choice." Suddenly, the strange ship lit up. Thin blue lines appeared along its surface. They moved like rivers, glowing softly in the dark. It was waking up. The stars behind it twisted for a moment. Space itself bent as energy built up. Then came the voice again. "Incoming threat confirmed. Defense protocol active. Do not interfere." The Drelvans braced themselves. Far in the distance, 3 Zarnak cruisers came into view. Their ships were sharp, heavy, and full of weapons. They moved fast and without fear. Inside the Zarnak command ship, Commander Thos growled. "That ship must be destroyed. Fire all cannons." Thousands of plasma rounds launched at the human warship, but none of them reached it. Before the weapons hit, a glowing blue shield expanded from the black ship's body. The plasma rounds melted against it like water on stone. Then, without warning, the warship responded. From its sides, several small panels opened. No noise. No energy buildup, just light. And in a blink, the Zarnak cruiser on the left exploded. Not with fire, but with silence. It vanished into dust. No heat signatures. Dren shouted on the Hope Seeker. It didn't use normal weapons. What did it use? Lenra asked, her voice shaking. I think it used gravity. Like it collapsed the ship from the inside." Ralvik stared in shock. "This is not just a ship. This is something else." The remaining 2 Zarnak ships turned to run. But it was too late. The warship launched 2 more blue beams. They didn't hit the ships directly. Instead, they hit empty space. The result was terrifying. The space around the Zarnak ships twisted, became like liquid. The ships tried to fly forward, but they couldn't move. They were caught in some kind of space web. And then, gone. No explosion. No parts left. Just silence. Back inside the Drelvan ship, everyone was speechless. Children clung to their mothers. Crew members looked at the black ship with fear and respect. Then the voice came again. But this time, it was different. It wasn't coming through the radio. It was in their minds. "You are under protection of the Terran Guardian-class vessel, Titanus. You have passed observation. Prepare for boarding." Dren looked around. Did everyone hear that in their mind? Ralvik nodded slowly. Yes, that wasn't just a machine speaking. That was something living. A small part of the Titanus opened. From inside, a platform extended toward the Drelvan ship. Lights guided a path. The message was clear. They were being invited aboard. Ralvik hesitated, then spoke. I'll go first. Lenra, you're with me. Drin, you have the bridge. But Captain, what if it's dangerous? Ralvik looked back at him. We're already in danger. But if this ship wanted us dead, it would have done it already. The two stepped onto the platform. It felt warm under their feet. Not cold metal, but something soft, like smooth stone. As they entered the Titanus, they expected machines, wires, flashing lights. But what they saw was something else. The inside of the warship looked like a mix of nature and machine. Walls pulsed gently with blue light. Pipes looked like veins. Everything moved slightly, like the ship was breathing. They walked carefully down a curved hallway. The air smelled clean, fresh. Suddenly, a blue light appeared ahead of them. It formed into a floating shape, a hologram. It spoke. Welcome aboard. I am Command 7. Artificial intelligence of the Titanus. Purpose: protection, judgment, elimination of galactic threats. Ralvik swallowed. Why did you help us? Because you were hunted, and because the galaxy must not forget. Forget what? Lenra asked. The lights around them dimmed. Then Command 7 said something that sent chills down their spines. Forget what humans are. Captain Ralvik and Lenra stood still as the blue light floated in front of them. It had no face, no body, just a shape made of light. But its voice was clear, strong, and cold. I am Command 7. This ship is Titanus, built by humans, powered by ancient war code. You are now inside a protected zone. Ralvik stepped forward. We thank you, Command 7. You saved our people. You were chosen for observation. You passed. Lenra looked confused. Observation. You were testing us. Yes, many species call for help. Few are worth saving. Most bring war, greed, or lies. You brought none. Ralvik felt a strange mix of fear and hope. What happens now? The blue light changed shape like it was thinking. Now you learn. A wall opened beside them. Not with doors, but like skin pulling back. Beyond it was a large room, round, quiet, and glowing with soft blue light. In the center was something strange, a large black sphere, floating in the air. Around it were hundreds of symbols, languages, and images. This is the memory core, said Command 7. Here lies the truth of humanity. Ralvik and Lenra stepped closer. The sphere began to glow brighter. Then it showed images, moving pictures from long ago. First, they saw Earth, a blue planet full of water, forests, and cities. Humans walking, laughing, building. Then they saw war. Cities burning, skies full of fire, giant machines fighting in space, ships like Titanus destroying enemies in seconds. Then came peace, but only for a short time. The voice explained. Humanity grew strong, too strong. We became protectors, and then punishers. The galaxy feared us, so we left. Left? Ralvik asked. Where did you go? We disappeared into the dark, deep space. We left behind ships like this one, sleeping, waiting, watching. Lenra looked at the floating sphere. And now you've awakened. Yes, because the Zarnak are rising again, and history must not repeat. Suddenly, another image appeared. It showed the Zarnak Empire's main fleet, hundreds of warships, stations, and weapons, all gathering near a star system. They're preparing for war, Ralvik said. Yes, and they plan to destroy all who resist, including your people. Ralvik's hands clenched. Then we must warn the others. You will, but not alone. Back on the Hope Seeker, Dren was watching the screen when something unexpected happened. A new panel appeared. It wasn't from their ship. It came from the Titanus. A map appeared, showing secret Zarnak bases, patrol paths, and weak spots in their fleet. Lenra's voice came through the speaker. Dren, this is Lenra. The human ship, it's helping us. It knows everything about the Zarnak. Ralvik added, we need to contact the other refugee ships, the hidden colonies. This war, it's coming fast. Dren nodded. Yes, Captain. I'll begin right away. Inside Titanus, the lights dimmed again. Command 7 spoke softly now. Not like a machine, but like something older. Ralvik, do you know why you were really saved? He paused. Because we passed your test. Partly. But more than that, you reminded us. Reminded you of what? Of who we used to be, before we became monsters. Ralvik looked around the living walls of the warship. Are there more ships like you? Yes, many. Sleeping across the stars. Some broken, some lost, but some ready. Lenra asked, will they help too? If called, but only if the right voice speaks. Ralvik's eyes narrowed. And what is the right voice? The ship was quiet for a long time. Then came the answer. The voice of someone who still believes in hope. Outside, the Titanus turned slowly. Blue lines ran along its body again. A new signal was sent across the stars. A message, a warning, a call. And somewhere far away, in the cold silence of deep space, other ships began to wake. The stars were quiet, too quiet. Ralvik stood at the control room of the Hope Seeker, looking at the glowing map on the screen. It showed the positions of the Zarnak fleet, their patrol routes, and the vast emptiness between them. It was a puzzle, and time was running out. The signal from Titanus had been sent. Now, it was only a matter of waiting. Captain, Dren said, his voice tight. We've received responses. Some of the colonies. They've heard the call. They're preparing for war. But not all of them. Not all. Lenra asked, walking up beside Ralvik. Why? Fear, Ralvik said. Many still remember the old wars. They're afraid of the Titans, of the humans who once ruled this galaxy. Lenra shook her head. But they're coming to help us, aren't they? The Titanus, it's on our side now. Ralvik turned away from the map. Yes, but we don't know how many of them there are. And we don't know what kind of power they still have. Suddenly, the lights in the control room flickered. A new message appeared on the screen. Fleet arriving. Coordinates confirmed. Prepare for contact. Ralvik's heart skipped a beat. The forgotten fleet, the one Titanus had spoken of, was finally here. Outside, in the cold vacuum of space, the first of the Titanus fleet appeared. Not one, but dozens of ships, giant, black warships, like the Titanus itself. They emerged from the shadows, each one massive, each one silent. As they approached the Hope Seeker, a soft hum filled the air. The ships didn't speak, didn't announce their presence. They just appeared, like ghosts, moving through the stars. Ralvik stared out the window, his breath held. He couldn't believe what he was seeing. These were the ships of humanity, giants of war, built for protection, built for judgment. The forgotten fleet had awoken. This is Titanus Command 7. The voice came over the ship's systems. Welcome to the fleet. Stand by for orders. Ralvik took a deep breath. The moment had come. We've got to act fast, he said. Dren, update the map. We need to know exactly where the Zarnak are now. Dren worked quickly, his fingers flying over the controls. Zarnak fleet's moving toward the outer edge of the system. They've set up a stronghold near the gas giant. If we don't act now, they'll be able to launch a full-scale attack. Ralvik nodded. We'll need every ship we can get. Let's make contact with the other colonies. Tell them to get ready. We'll need to hit the Zarnak hard. The Titanus fleet moved into position, their black forms surrounding the Hope Seeker like shadows closing in. Ralvik could feel the power of the ships, even though they were silent. Each one was like a silent predator, waiting for its moment. Suddenly, another message appeared. Zarnak fleet detected. Preparing for battle. Ralvik's eyes narrowed. They know we're here. Lenra stood beside him, her face tense. What do we do? Ralvik looked out at the black ships surrounding them. He could feel the weight of their presence, the power behind them. We fight, he said. We fight with everything we have. The Zarnak fleet was already preparing their weapons. Ralvik could see the flash of their energy cannons charging up. But before they could fire, the Titanus fleet moved. A single ship, the Titanus itself, fired first. A beam of pure blue energy shot out. Faster than the eye could see, it hit the lead Zarnak ship with a force that made the stars themselves blink. The Zarnak ship shuddered, and then it exploded, gone in a burst of light. The remaining Zarnak ships fired back, but it was too late. The Titanus fleet was already on them. Ralvik watched as the battle unfolded. The Zarnak ships tried to regroup, but the Titanus fleet was too fast, too powerful. Every shot from the black ships was like a judgment. The Zarnak couldn't escape. But just as victory seemed certain, something unexpected happened. A new signal appeared on the radar. A Zarnak cruiser, much larger than the others, emerged from the gas giant. It was heavily armed, with shields stronger than anything the Titanus fleet had faced so far. Dren's voice broke through the silence. Captain, there's a new enemy ship. It's the Dreadlord, the Zarnak's flagship. It's coming straight for us. Ralvik's eyes widened. The Dreadlord was the most feared ship in the Zarnak fleet. If they didn't stop it, it could destroy everything. We need to take it down, Ralvik said. Now. The Titanus fleet responded as one. The black ships swarmed the Dreadlord, firing their blue energy beams. But the Zarnak flagship fought back, launching massive waves of plasma energy. The two forces collided in a storm of light and sound. Ralvik's heart pounded. He could feel the tension in the air. This was it. If they didn't win this battle, all would be lost. And then, just when it seemed like the Titanus fleet might falter, something changed. The black ships began to glow brighter, their shields pulsing with a powerful energy. The Titanus had unlocked a new power, something more than just weapons. The blue beams from the Titanus fleet grew stronger, faster. They pierced the Zarnak shields. One by one, the Zarnak ships fell. The Dreadlord was the last to stand, but even it couldn't withstand the might of the Forgotten Fleet. With one final strike, the flagship exploded, sending a shockwave through space. Ralvik stood silent as the battle ended. The Zarnak were defeated. The Titanus fleet had won. Is it over? Lenra asked softly. Ralvik nodded slowly. For now, it is. But the war is not won yet. The fleet hovered around the Hope Seeker, silent and watchful. The humans had returned, and they were ready. The battle was over. The Zarnak fleet was shattered, their flagship destroyed. The space around the Hope Seeker was quiet now, but the weight of the moment still pressed down on Ralvik's shoulders. He stood in the control room, his eyes fixed on the display. The Titanus fleet, human warships, ancient and powerful, now surrounded them like protectors. The silence was broken by Dren's voice. Captain, the remaining Zarnak ships are retreating. They're heading back to the outer rim. They'll need time to regroup. Ralvik nodded, his thoughts heavy. That's good, but it won't last. They'll be back. We need to prepare. Lenra walked up beside him. How do we prepare for what we can't understand? These ships, they're more than just war machines. They're alive. Ralvik turned to her. Yes, they're more than just technology. They're humanity's legacy. The voice of Command 7 echoed in the room. Titanus fleet stands ready for your command, Captain Ralvik. awaiting further orders. Ralvek looked out the window at the dark expanse of space. We need to unite the galaxy. The Zarnak aren't just a threat to us. They're a threat to everyone. Lenra stepped forward, her face serious. But how? Many of the colonies are afraid. They've spent years hiding, protecting themselves. They won't just follow us into a war. Ralvik clenched his fists. Then we make them understand. We show them the strength of humanity, the strength of the Titanus fleet. We don't fight for power. We fight for survival. Back on the Hope Seeker, Dren worked quickly, sending out messages to the colonies. He sent the victory report, but more importantly, he sent a message of hope. We need to unite, Ralvik said. We need to show the galaxy that we stand together. And we need to prepare for the Zarnak's return. The message went out to every corner of space, reaching colonies and outposts, ships and stations that had long given up hope of ever being safe again. Meanwhile, on the Titanus, the dark corridors were filled with the soft hum of the ship's systems coming to life. Ralvik walked down the long, curved hallways, Lenra by his side. They had come a long way since the first time they set foot on this ancient vessel. But there was still so much to learn. As they entered the heart of the ship, they were greeted by Command 7's voice. You seek answers. Ask. Ralvik looked up. What is humanity's purpose? What do we have to offer the galaxy? There was a long pause. The walls of the Titanus seemed to pulse with a low energy, almost as if the ship was thinking. Humanity's purpose is protection. Command 7 said, You were born from struggle, but your strength lies in unity. The galaxy will need your strength, your fire. Ralvik's voice was steady but filled with purpose. And what about you? What do the Titanus ships want? We exist to protect, to fight, to defend the innocent. But we are not a species. We are a tool, a weapon of war. We have waited long for this moment, for the moment when you would rise again. Ralvik stood still, feeling the weight of the ship's words. What happens now? Now you lead, you unite, and you show the galaxy the strength of humanity. The message had been sent. The response was slow at first, but it grew stronger with every hour. From distant planets, from the dark corners of the galaxy, ships began to move. Colonies that had hidden for years began to stir. Leaders who once feared humanity's power now realized they had no choice but to join the fight. On the Hope Seeker, Dren sat by the communications console, his fingers flying over the keys. Captain, we've got ships responding. The colonies are gathering. They're ready to stand with us. Ralvik smiled. It's happening. The galaxy is waking up. But there was still one thing they had to do. The Titanus fleet moved forward, leading the way. Behind them, the first of the Allied ships followed, a mix of designs, some human, some not, but all with one goal: survival. Ralvik stood on the bridge of the Hope Seeker, watching as the fleet moved together like one. He could feel the energy, the unity that had been missing for so long. This is it, Lenra said, standing beside him. We're not just fighting for ourselves anymore. We're fighting for everyone. Ralvik nodded. This isn't just our war. It's the galaxy's war. And we'll fight together, or we'll fall alone. The Titanus warships led the way, their black forms cutting through the stars. It was a message to the galaxy, a message that humanity was no longer lost, no longer forgotten. They had risen. And with the rise of humanity came a promise. No matter what the Zarnak threw at them, they would not fall. As the fleet moved into the unknown, the voice of Command 7 echoed in their minds one last time. You have proven worthy. Humanity will be remembered. Ralvik looked out at the stars. We're just getting started. The fleet was ready. Every ship in the human-led coalition was in position, lined up alongside the Titanus warships, which now glowed with the power of 1,000 suns. Ralvik stood at the center of the bridge on the Hope Seeker, staring out at the endless expanse of space. The Zarnak fleet was close. Too close. But they had no choice. The galaxy's future was at stake. "Captain," Dren said, his voice strained, "the Zarnak have brought everything they've got. Their flagship, the Dreadlord, is at the front. They've got more ships than we've ever seen." Ralvik clenched his fists, feeling the weight of the moment. "We can't let them destroy everything we've fought for. We'll hold the line, no matter what." Lenra stepped forward, determination in her eyes. "We've seen what the Titaness can do. We have the power. We just need to stay focused." Ralvik nodded. "Focus is everything. The fate of the galaxy is in our hands. We fight together, or we fall alone." Across the fleet, ships moved into formation. The dark Titanus warships, their massive frames gleaming with energy, took the lead. Behind them, human and alien ships followed, each one a symbol of unity. It had taken time to bring the galaxy together, but now, in the face of the Zarnak, they had no choice but to fight. The Zarnak fleet loomed ahead, a wall of metal and death. The Dreadlord, their flagship, was the largest of them all, a dark shadow in the void. Its weapons were charged, its engines roaring with power. "This is it," Ralvik muttered under his breath. "This is the final battle." Suddenly, a transmission came through, clear and cold. "Ralvik, captain of the Hope Seeker, you are outnumbered. Surrender now, or face annihilation." It was the voice of the Zarnak commander, harsh and full of malice. But Ralvik didn't hesitate. He stepped forward, speaking into the communication system. "We will never surrender. We stand for survival. We stand for the galaxy." The transmission cut off, replaced by the terrifying sound of the Zarnak warships preparing for battle. The first shot came from the Dreadlord, a massive beam of pure energy aimed straight for the Titanus fleet. It hit one of the human ships, tearing it apart in an instant. The explosion sent shockwaves through the space around them. "Return fire," Ralvik ordered, his voice sharp and clear. In an instant, the Titanus warships unleashed their devastating blue energy beams. The Zarnak ships staggered under the force of the blasts, their shields flickering as they tried to absorb the power. But it wasn't enough. The Titanus ships had unlocked a new power, something even more dangerous than before. A second wave of Zarnak ships charged forward, their weapons firing in a continuous barrage. But this time, the Titanus fleet was ready. With unmatched speed and precision, the black ships dodged and countered, their weapons cutting through the Zarnak defenses. The battle raged on, a storm of light and fire. Explosions filled the space, and the sound of weapons clashing echoed through the control room of the Hope Seeker. Ralvik watched as ship after ship fell, but the Titanus fleet held strong. Then, the Dreadlord made its move. The massive Zarnak flagship fired its most powerful weapon yet, a beam so strong it tore through space itself. It struck the lead Titanus warship, sending it spiraling into the void, its systems failing as it was consumed by the blast. Ralvik's heart skipped a beat. That ship had been their strongest ally. But it wasn't over. They couldn't afford to lose focus now. "Get us in range of the Dreadlord," Ralvik commanded. "We need to end this. Now." The Hope Seeker and the remaining Titanus ships sped toward the Zarnak flagship. The Dreadlord fired again, but the Titanus warships were ready. They dodged the blast, weaving through space with unmatched agility. Ralvik's eyes locked on the Dreadlord, its dark form looming ahead. This was it, the final blow. "Prepare the energy core," Ralvik ordered, his voice calm despite the chaos around him. "We have one shot at this." The Hope Seeker powered up, its energy core glowing brighter with each passing second. Ralvik gripped the control panel, his mind focused on the task ahead. The fate of the galaxy was in his hands. With a roar of power, the Hope Seeker unleashed its full energy. A massive beam of pure light shot out, aimed straight for the Dreadlord. Time seemed to slow as the beam streaked across space.